Welcome back to another episode of Work in Progress. Today, I had the pleasure of speaking with Mary Tschirhart about Dominion Energy. Mary brought some great energy to the conversation, and I know that her advice will help students feel confident about entering the career fair in a few short days.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. It is so nice to meet you. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to meet with me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the invite, Ashley. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Of course. So, I guess first things first, can you tell me a little bit about who you are and the company you're representing?
Absolutely. My name is Mary Tschirhart. I am a student employment coordinator with Dominion Energy. And Dominion
Mhm.
Energy is one of the largest utilities in the United States. We're the fourth largest for solar energy
Oh,
production.
wow.
We have about 7 million customers, and we're kind of along the East Coast. So we have
Okay.
a big nuclear facility in Connecticut, but predominantly in the Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina area.
Okay, cool. So you've got plenty of areas for students to kind of get into. That's good to
Oh, yeah.
know.
Yep. It's a fantastic opportunity for a lot of our students because we do like a housing stipend. So I always
Oh,
tell
nice.
students, I was like, if you ever just want to spend a summer in Connecticut, take an internship. You never know.
Hey, yeah, might as well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you look for in students who come up to your table at the career fair?
So that's such a great question. I think this would have been really helpful for me when I was thinking about talking to employers and career fairs. The first thing that
Yeah.
I always look for is a resume. I think it's such
Hmm.
a I having a printed out resume is the icebreaker. So let's talk
Yeah.
about your experience. It helps me kind of go through everything. I am a visual person, so I can't always remember
Same.
everything that you're saying. So having everything right there, let's talk about your projects. I want to be able to like refer back to it.
Mhm.
So I think having a printed out resume is key. And they don't just go in a pile here. We do scan them all and we sort them. And so we compile them into a folder that all of our recruiters can search through. So it's not just something
Okay,
that's going in
good.
the scrap pile. So
Yeah.
bringing a printed resume really, really helps. I would say some of the other things that I look for, like based on like a personality thing, I always look for enthusiasm. I know nerves get in the way for that,
Oh,
but you can be both. You can definitely be nervous and you can still be excited. So I
yeah.
encourage students to like, don't let the nerves get ahead of you. But I will always look for somebody who's just like enthusiastic for the conversation
Hmm.
and curious. Like curiosity and enthusiasm go a long way. If I start
Hmm.
talking about some of the programs that we have at Dominion, like largest utility for solar or something like that, our largest offshore wind farm, and you're like, okay, tell me more, that's going to help the conversation really flow. And to be honest,
Yeah.
I remember those conversations. They really stand out to me. So I'm going to
Yeah.
star a resume and follow up a lot like quicker regarding an opportunity. And it helps me learn a lot more about what the student's looking for. So
Hmm.
that flow of information, that really helps.
How should a student approach the career fair from an employer's perspective?
So I think the first thing to kind of be aware of is, of course, like having your resume up to date. When we're
Yeah.
thinking about approaching an employer, doing a little bit of research does help. Trying
Yes.
to understand like what the company mission is, I think that is like you can do that on your phone while you're waiting in line, but it does help if
Yeah.
you already know who you want to talk to because you've done a
Yeah.
little bit of research on the company. So I think just kind of having some basic questions in mind when you're approaching an employer does really like help the student and benefit that. So I
Hmm.
would say having maybe at least 3 questions, and they can be the same for every employer, but I really encourage you not to do that. Don't ask me
Yeah.
about company culture. Like I can tell you why it matters to me, but I
Yeah.
think we can get into a little bit more detail if you ask me about personally my career path at the company. Where how did I
Yeah.
start? What drew me to my company? Why am I still here? I think those
Yeah.
types of questions, and I think that allows for like a more, I think, organic conversation flow. So
Yeah.
I would say have at least 3 questions.
Okay.
Ask the person, get detailed. What it is it that you do? It may not
Yeah.
be like exactly what the student major is. I'm not an
Hmm.
engineering major, but I can talk to you about my experience and why that matters so much. So
Yeah.
having like that opportunity, tell me, like, I think another question that would be really great would be, what is it like the company mission? What's the purpose for
Yeah.
like where do you plan on going? And I think that leads into like the third one. How is your company evolving? Is it being
Ooh.
innovative?
Okay.
Are we
Yeah.
thinking about new ways to do things? We're a 100-year-old utility, but we're still
Yeah.
here doing a lot of new things. We're building, we're looking at small modular nuclear reactors, offshore wind, all of these different ways for power generation, but then also electric transmission. How do we get energy to people? So if you don't see that kind of like enthusiasm as people talk about their company, I think it's pretty telling.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I will say we have with our career fair, we have through Clemson Job Link, so one of our main websites, they'll have the ability to look ahead of time what employers are going to be here, what day they're going to be here. They can also look a little bit about that mission statement, that those value statements. So I definitely agree with that. Students definitely should do a little bit of research on the employers before they go in and talk to them.
Exactly. And make sure the employer aligns with what you're looking for from, again, a cultural standpoint, but also a mission standpoint.
What is your company specifically looking for from Clemson students?
So we hire for everything under the sun. I think most people think about energy, and so they think about electrical engineering. Yes. We hire everything from accountants to, regular energy, like regular engineers, HR, marketing, all of these different things, because all of this comes together to make sure that we are a successful company. We need everything under the sun. So when I'm looking at Clemson students, the things that I'm really looking for, I'm just looking for somebody who's passionate about or curious about where our industry is going. I think energy is one of the coolest industries out there, because I will always say nobody else here at this career fair can do their job unless we do. So
that's true.
So buying into I want to be a part of something that's going to continue to evolve and be meaningful and allow everybody in my community to continue to do their job. So buying into that. I think Clemson is a fantastic school. They do everything. The reputation is so good for so many different things, for engineering specifically. But what I'm looking for not only a talented Clemson student, but I'm looking for somebody who's invested in that mission and purpose that really hits home with them, where they're kind of you know what? I want to be a part of something bigger and help everyone around me kind of continue to succeed. So I look for that, not only the amazing education that Clemson provides, but also somebody who's interested in that kind of mission.
I love that. That is the perfect thing for students to kind of keep in mind, because a lot of students, I think, will, silo themselves into, they only think that as employers looking for an engineering student and their marketing. But you brought up a really good point that employers are looking for everything, because all of that combined is what's going to make your company run.
Yeah. Well, and I will even touch on that, because I think a lot of students they think that I only want to hear about what they're doing with their major. No, please tell me about your clubs, your organization, your sports. How are you kind of engaging with that? Because that means you can work with a variety of people. And guess what? We're a company full of a variety of people. So I love to have that emphasis on collaboration and teamwork and problem solving. Tell me about all of those situations. They don't have to be related to your major. It tells me that you already know how to do these things. And that goes a long way too.
Okay, so I guess my last question is there any quick advice for students who might be nervous coming into the fair?
I think deep breaths always help. The square breathing always helps me out. But I'll be honest, I take people, I've done hundreds of events at this point, but I take employee ambassadors. And a lot of times they're just as nervous too. They want to make sure that they represent the company well, that they are able to answer all the questions that every single student has. And I tell them, you're not going to be able to. What the students, I think, really want to hear from is why your mission, your journey, why are you here? And take it to a personal level. So I tell students, it's okay to be nervous. That's totally fine. We're excited and nervous on our end too. We've all been in that situation before, where this is overwhelming. Career fairs can be very overwhelming, but they are a great opportunity for you to kind of network and to see what it is you're looking for in your employer. If you I've had many conversations with students. They're like, you know what? I didn't even think about energy, but in our conversation, I'm kind of jazzed. I'm jazzed about this. So go in with an open mind, do a little bit of research before, but go with an open mind too, to see what the employers might be able to offer you. And I think that really does help. So don't have any preconceived ideas about what an employer might do. Be willing to talk to a variety, but just take a deep breath, because this is a fun opportunity to connect and share who you are. I think that's a lot of fun. Share why you're interested in your major. Share what it is that you're excited about over the next semester, share what you're really nervous about. Is it an upcoming exam or something like that? I think that makes it real. All humans, I mean, we're all humans. So I think that really does
Yep.
help.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the perfect advice for students to just keep in mind that y'all are just as nervous as the students are. And that's something that I think will really help students to kind of calm themselves to know that they're not the only ones walking in here with a little bit of nerves. I think that will definitely help students.
Yeah, they're not alone for sure. We've all been in those shoes.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
then I guess those are all my questions that I have for you today. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me, Mary. I had so much fun. I think our students are going to really love getting to know you and hearing your story. And I'm really looking forward to also meeting you at the career fair.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really appreciate it.